Hello, good evening and welcome to the Gfinity studios in London. My name's Martin White, I'll be your host tonight. You're joining us on this Sunday evening in London for the G2 group draw. By the end of tonight's show, you're going to know who is going to be playing who for the chance to win a share of $70,000. Massive amount of money in it. Right, some stuff to bring you up to speed on is that we have our 16 teams. Been a couple of changes though, so bear with us. So what's happened is, as you're aware, VQ Gaming were going to join us, but you know they won our online qualifier. Sadly, they can no longer make it due to some challenges they've had around funding. So they're going to be replaced by Killerfish, who they beat in the final. So they finished second in the online qualifier. So I think it's only right that we hand the spot to them. So the boys from Germany will be joining us. Also joining us will be Team Enigma, who you might remember from our studio qualifier couldn't take part due to one of the players not turning up. So we held a secret online qualifier between them, Splay, Tech, and Tricked. So they took part in an online qualifier earlier this week, the action of which you can see on YouTube in the next couple of days. We'll show you their journey. So Enigma will also be joining us. So they are going to be joined by the big boys. They're going to be joined by Complexity, Envy, Unite, Optic, TCM, Epsilon, Infused, Aware, Kaliber, Curse, Giants, Inferno, Vitality, and Millenium. So we know who our 16 teams are. The event's going to be huge. We are 2 weeks away. Literally in 2 weeks' time, we'll be in the home straight of finding out who the second winner of a Gfinity title is going to be. I don't know who it's going to be, but by the end of this, we're going to know who's going to be playing who at the start of it. Just so you know how this is going to work, basically we've got 4 pots. So the way that we've devised those pots is by geographical split and player team performances from the last Gfinity event. I think you'll agree that's fair. We've got 4 groups: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So each of those teams will be drawn into one of those groups. The way that the draw is going to work, we're going to go from pot 4 to pot 3 to pot 2 to pot 1. We're going to draw a team, then a group, team, then a group, so you can see it's completely random. It should throw up some surprises, and maybe even a group of death, who knows. So anyway, like we were talking about before, we've got more teams, we've got more money at stake. We really are in store for an amazing tournament. So let's remind ourselves what all the fuss is about. Welcome back. The time for talk is over. The time for action begins now. So we're moments away from when we're going to draw the groups for G2, and you will get to see who is going to be playing against who. And if we needed any more of a reminder than the video of how much is at stake, then I don't know what else there is left to do. More teams, more money, spectators. It's going to be one hell of a show. So just to remind you about the way that we're going to do things is that we'll draw a team from each pot and a group. Team, group, team, group, team, group. Move on to the next pot. So just to remind you who's in each pot. So in pot number 4, we have Enigma, Kaliber, Curse, and Killerfish. Pot number 3, we have Giants, Inferno, Vitality, Millenium. Pot number 2, TCM, Epsilon, Aware, Infused. And pot number 1, Complexity, Envy, Unite, and Optic. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. The first team to be drawn in a group for G2 from pot number 4 are Team Enigma. Team Enigma, the first one's out. The pot number 4 will go into group Group Charlie. So that's Team Enigma in Group Charlie. The second team out of pot number 4 are Curse. Curse will go into Group Delta. So that's Curse into Group Delta. The third team out of pot number 4 are Team Kaliber. They're the third team to be drawn out of pot number 4. And they will go into Group Alpha. And the final team to be drawn out of pot number 4 are Killerfish. Killerfish will start G2 in Bravo. Okay, so moving swiftly on. Just to recap before we move on to Group 3 and we refresh the groups. Group A have Kaliber, Bravo have Killerfish, Enigma are in Group Charlie, and Curse are in Group Delta. So we'll refresh the groups and start with the first team from pot number 3. First team pulled out of pot number 3 are Millenium. Millenium will go into Group Charlie. Millenium in Group Charlie. And they'll be joining Enigma. Second team out of pot number 3 are Ozone Giants. Ozone Giants are drawn into Group Alpha. So Ozone Giants in Group Alpha with Kaliber. Third team out of pot number 3 are Vitality. It's Team Vitality. They're the latest latest team to be drawn out of pot number 3, and they will go into Group Delta. So that's Vitality. They'll be in Group Delta with Curse. Final team to be drawn out of pot number 3 are Inferno, and Inferno will begin life at G2 in Bravo with Killerfish. So we're halfway there. Freshen up the groups again before we move on to pot number 2. So, first team to be drawn from pot number 2 are Aware Gaming, first team to be drawn out of pot number 2. And Aware will join Group Delta, where they will be with Curse and Vitality. Second team out of pot number 2 are Epsilon. Epsilon will be drawn into Group Bravo with Killerfish and Inferno. Third team out of pot number 2 are Team Infused. They're the third team out of pot number 2. Infused, and they will go into Group Alpha with Kaliber and Ozone Giants. So the final team to be drawn out of pot 2, are last year's finalists, TCM Gaming. Did so well last year. top lads. And they will be drawn into Group Charlie with Enigma, Millenium. Good group, Group Charlie. So, nearly there. Last time, we're going to refresh the groups before we start drawing the teams from pot number 1. So, the first team from pot number 1 are Envy, and Envy start their challenge for G2 in Group Charlie with Enigma, Millenium and TCM. The second group from pot number 1 are reigning champs, Complexity. Complexity will start life in Group Bravo with Killerfish, Infused and Epsilon. Third team to be drawn from pot 1 are Unite. Unite go into Group Delta with Curse, Vitality and Aware. Meaning that the final team to be drawn from pot 1 are, of course, Optic. And Optic will mount their challenge for G2 from Group Alpha with Kaliber, Giants and Infused. So that concludes the draw. Let's remind ourselves about who is in which group. As you can see there are some amazing teams. So in Group Alpha, Kaliber, Giants, Infused, Optic. Group Bravo, Killerfish, Inferno, Epsilon, Complexity. Group Charlie, Enigma, Millenium, TCM and Envy. And Group D, Curse, Vitality, Aware and Unite. So even if there was another sort of 500 reasons why you won't be joining us next weekend, there are 16 reasons there, 16 great teams, some amazing games, some very, very tight groups. $70,000 on the line. Who's going to be the next champion of G2? You have the chance to be there. We still managed to free up a few more tickets. A couple of those are still available, so you can buy those through gfinity.net. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Gfinity. And in 2 weeks' time, we will know who will be crowned the next champions of Gfinity at G2 in London. So we'll see you then. Don't go anywhere. Take care.